We recently put out a video connecting the dots on Washington State's vaccine framework, and we actually missed one of the very important dots that need to be connected into this framework. So, in today's quick video, I'm going to be telling you about Senate Bill 6095 that was passed in 2024, that is a key piece of Washington State's vaccine mandate framework. Hey everyone, I'm Julie Barrett with Conservative Ladies of America, and I missed a very key bill that is part of this framework that is quickly ramping up in Washington State. I put out a video a couple days ago, which I will have linked in the description. If you haven't watched that already, watch this video and then go back and watch that video, and it will connect all of the dots for you on this framework. There's probably more bills, legislations, administrative codes, and things like that that I am missing that factor into this framework. But this gives you a good idea of what they've been doing just over the last year and a half and where they are going, so that you can really plan and prepare so that you can protect yourself and your family for the next emergency. Senate Bill 6095 was passed in 2024. It grants the Washington State Secretary of Health sweeping authority to issue standing orders for any drug or vaccine, and there is nothing in the legislation that requires parental consent, local approval, or any kind of liability for the Secretary of Health. This law quietly laid the foundation for Washington State to roll out mass vaccination protocols, which we are starting to see them slowly ramp up. As I was digging through this bill again this morning, I went to the testimonies from when the bill was heard in the House Health and Wellness Committee back in the spring of 2024. And so instead of breaking down the bill for you, I thought I'd just let you listen to the testimonies of three people that opposed this bill in committee. And the first one you're going to hear is a mother who took the time out of her day to drive to Olympia with her baby on her back and give testimony opposing this bill. One of the things that we see in the legislature in Olympia when we are testifying on these bills is that we get treated much differently when we oppose the policies that the Democrats are trying to pass than do the people that support these policies. And you'll see that this woman was not treated very respectfully by the chair of the committee.
On this bill, I'm pretty. So this is 6095. I'm a little confused because I read through both the original bill and the engrossed bill. I have a degree in biology with a marine option, and general sciences 6th through 12th. Teaching degree. I taught high school 1 year and subbed for a year. 3 years healthcare experience. I was a phlebotomist on every floor of the hospital, ER, SAC, PACU. I've been a caregiver. I've also worked in a hyperbaric chamber because I'm also a dive master. But I read through this, and I'm hearing in testimony, people are talking about that this is an EMT issue. This is about Narcan. This is about the opioid crisis and declaring the humanity of the people. And nowhere in the bill am I seeing that. I'm seeing that humans.
That is your time. That is your time. Thank you.
That's my time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fortunately, one of the tactics that legislators can use to give someone more time to speak to their point is to ask a question. And so Representative Spencer Hutchins, who is no longer in the legislature, asked if he could ask the testifier a question. And so he asked her a question, allowing her to continue testifying.
Yes, we'll have Representative Hutchins to ask a question.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you quickly summarize what you're seeing in the bill for us? Thank you.
Right. I'm seeing that a lot of it gives pretty much unlimited authority in an issue that it seems that they already have the authority to issue recommendations. I heard a pediatrician say this isn't a mandate. So I'm wondering why they need, by any means, it basically opens the door for basically issuing euthanasia to people who have a non-infectious disease, because this isn't just about infectious disease, it's about non-infectious disease or any perceived threat, and basically giving nearly unlimited authority without liability.
Please summarize.
Okay. Okay. So
And you're welcome to submit comments to the committee. I think I'm going to ask you to do that at this point. Happy to have email the committee members, and we'll make sure to get those remarks out. So really appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. We're going to move on. Thanks.
The next two testimonies you are going to hear are from Bob Runnells of Informed Choice Washington. They do amazing work in Washington state on health and medical freedom issues and are a great resource. I'm going to have Bob's Substack linked in the description of this video, but here's what he had to say in committee.
Good morning, Chair Riccelli and members of the committee. I'm Bob Runnells with Informed Choice Washington. I'm opposed to 6095 for many reasons. Standing orders issued by the Secretary of Health will interfere with the doctor-patient relationship and will no doubt violate informed consent, as vaccines and drugs with significant risks could be prescribed as one size fits all. A big reason this committee should be opposed to this is that during the pandemic, our public health agencies and officials struggled to defend policies and recommendations that were made. So much so that in January of 23, the Department of Health announced its New Year's resolution to rebuild trust in public health. Secretary Shaw and his department announced this goal in many forums, and I argue that this lack of trust continues to this day. So please ask yourselves, will this restore trust in public health? We think not. SB 6095 only looks like an unnecessary power grab, which will only serve to erode the public's trust in these policies and recommendations. This power was first kind of reignited during the pandemic, during an emergency. If this bill survives, I would ask that it has an emergency use clause. Thank you.
And finally, we finish with our very own Mary Long of Conservative Ladies of Washington.
Good morning, Chair Riccelli and committee members. My name is Mary Long, speaking on behalf of Conservative Ladies of Washington, testifying in opposition to Senate Bill 6095. We do not agree with any legislation that would centralize power in the state government into the executive branch, especially to someone who is not elected by the people. The Secretary of Health is appointed by the governor. Over the last few years, we've seen more and more of the just powers given to the legislature constitutionally put in place, ceded to the governor, primarily by the urban-centric Democratic Party. This legislation would set a dangerous precedent, likely resulting in future legislation to further increase emergency powers. Our state and local authorities have the technology to act quickly on unfolding issues. Therefore, this policy is unnecessary, and we urge this committee to vote no. Thank you very much.
So this gives you a really good idea of what this policy is about and how they gave broad authority to the Secretary of Health for situations just like what we saw during 2020 with the COVID vaccines. In the description of the video, I've got a link to the bill so you can go read it for yourself. I've also got a link to our article on this entire framework, letting you know what it's all about. I do want to reiterate again that a framework is not a vaccine mandate. There is no COVID vaccine mandate in Washington state at this time. Nobody is being forced to get vaccinated. So I want to be very clear about that. But this is something you need to know about, that they are quickly ramping up all of their framework for the next crisis. And so it's important for citizens to be calm, but prepare and plan so that you can protect yourself and your family. Please do share this video far and wide. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.